this subject because I'm good at it. Phone sex. A lot of you girls have your partners who have traveled and they're outside of the country and you miss them and you want to have some kind of intimacy with them on the phone. And now we're lucky enough to have internet, so it can be like a virtual sex, you know. So where there used to be phone sex, now there's virtual sex. So you can see each other while you play with each other. Well, you don't actually play with each other, you play with yourselves while they watch. And yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's no way saying it's a bad thing. I think it can be very healthy if your partner is away for a long time. But as much as I think it's very healthy, I also think that it's important that if your partner is away for more than 6 weeks, you do have to go and see them. Or there should be a contingency plan in there that he comes back to see you. I know the problem with a lot of you is that some are there studying, so they have no money to be able to come back, or you can't get a visa to go back and see them. But I can tell you that if you leave a longer period of time, they come back not the same people. There's no question. If you leave somebody for too long, they get used to not being with you. They might miss you and whatnot, but the feeling is not the same. You know, they will love you exactly the same, but that need is never there anymore. It is hard for me to say that it does have an effect because, I mean, my husband and I have been away from each other for maybe as long as 3 months. We didn't mean to, but it just happened. And it took a lot for me to feel like I needed him again. It was very hard because, you know, he was the one who was home. So it was easier for him to welcome me back than it was for me to come back into the environment, if you understand what I'm saying. So I think for women, especially if they have been faithful, they could come back. It might take a bit of time and whatnot, but then you still have to sort of get into that whole life. But then if you are a man who's not really in touch with family, men and family and wife and children is very different. It's funny, we don't want to talk about it, but it's a fact. Men, you know, when they go away, it's easier for them to forget. And when they come back, it's easier for them to not still be a part of that family life. But for women, it's very different. And I don't know a man yet who would go without his wife or sex or intimacy for more than 3 months, longest. It's hard. It is hard, and it takes a real man not to do that. So I really don't condone long distant married relationship. That doesn't work effectively. Maybe 5% of the time it'll work, but most of the time it doesn't. And especially if you don't see each other intermittently, like maybe every 6 weeks. If you can help it. For me, I can't go longer than seeing my husband for 2 weeks. If I miss him, I send him over, or I come back for a bit and I go back again. But you do have to have that plan in there. If you're not married, you might as well forget it. Because even if he does come back and marry you, something will be different. And I hear a lot of that too. So anyway, I've given my 2 pence. I'm now going to read a message I got from somebody about. Hi guys. I was just about to go out and I got this desperate text from a young lady on my DM who said her husband, who is a white man, has fallen out of love with her. He says he doesn't want her. He doesn't love her. She has nowhere to go and she doesn't really know what to do. She lives in the UK. She has a son from somebody else, and he has a son as well. They both don't have any children, but they've been married 3 years. So she's desperate. Now, as I was about to leave, I thought, no, I can't leave. That, the tone of the text was so desperate that I DM'd her back and gave her my number to call me. And we've been on the phone for the past 40 minutes. And I'm just about to go out. I have to be out of here in 2 hours. And I felt I should make this post quickly for her, but then for everybody to hear. So I sent her a message to call me, which I never usually do because I wouldn't usually give my number to anybody, but I could sense that this woman was at her wit's end. There's very, very big differences between marrying an African man and an Englishman. She's married to an Englishman. A lot of my friends are English and American and German, and I have so many friends from all over the world. When white men fall out of love with you, it is very hard for them to come and fall back in love with you. African men, even when they fall out of love with you, will stay in the home because of family, whatever, which is terrible. But that's how it usually is. But with white men, they fall out of love with you, and that is it. Now, I had to ask her quite a few questions. How do you know? I know he's saying it. Is he angry with you for any reason? The fact is, in the beginning of the relationship, she was the one in control. He loved her so much that whatever she wanted, she got, Now, there must have been something that triggered that feeling. And I think it's because the novelty of being married to a black woman wore off. That's all it was. It was initially, okay, I found this beautiful black woman, gorgeous, big butt. And she said that sometimes when, she would get changed, he would stand and stare and grab her ass and whatnot. It was all about the ass. But now even white people have big ass. So she's lost out. And he really just doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care anymore. And she's holding on to it because she has nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. He goes into his office and stays there all day. So all through the lockdown, she was stuck with this man who doesn't love her, or says he doesn't love her. He doesn't want her anymore. And she doesn't know what to do. Well, those are all signs that he has had enough. You haven't done anything in particular, apparently. I mean, I'm just talking on the surface, but I think basically he just wants control back of his life. Now, hearing her, I could tell that there was more to it than that. And what's happening is he's spending time in his office pretending to work. But as soon as she said that, I knew he's probably talking to another woman. And sure enough, when I asked her to have a look on his computer, and in situations like this, you do have to look. Sure enough, he's talking to some woman in Malaysia. This is a beautiful young lady, and she's from Nigeria. And he's lucky to have her. But now we have to figure out whether it's because they don't have a child together, or that maybe he's now trying to assert himself because she's controlled the situation so much, or he just really just doesn't love her anymore. Right now, it's hard. And after listening to everything she has to say, I basically think that this man is just not really for her. Because he just really just doesn't care about her anymore. It's not a laughing matter. I'm smiling because the irony of it is crazy. Because a lot of people say, I want to marry a white man. It's not easy. But the advantage she has right here is that they're living in a house, they're married, They don't have any children per se, of course, but she came into the marriage with a son and contributed a little bit at least to the household. In this country, you can take 50%. So she needs to get herself a good lawyer and make sure that that's on standby. This man does not want to go and see a counselor. He's not interested. You know, when he wants sex, he asks you to give him a blowjob and you do it. And you're just, all you're going to be is miserable. It's not like Ghana where you can have friends and then you get somebody you can talk to or somebody you can go to. Over here, when you go into your house and you shut that door, that's it. You're done. You're in. There's nobody to talk to. So she basically needs to find a way out. Because as soon as he knows that you're going to be going or leaving him, he will start hiding stuff. You know, white people are clever. Don't underestimate them. They will start hiding things. So he's probably using this time to hide things because she tells me that he's saying to her, he doesn't want her to leave and whatnot, but then he doesn't want to touch her. And by the time he gets to wanting to divorce you, he'll say he has nothing. They're very clever over here, very. So right in the beginning, you do have to be clever too and make sure that you have your own life. You cannot go into that any kind of relationship and think, okay, they love me, so they'll look after me. It doesn't work that way in any part of the world. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. I really need to hear your thoughts on it and whether you think I'm right or not. But she needs to find some kind of security. And over here as well, they'll give you a council house. So she could contact the social services. She may have to go to some kind of a shelter, which is horrible for her, but that's what you have to do in this country to get some kind of housing somewhere. But if I were her, I would not leave the house. I would get a good lawyer and tell them that you've been the woman of the house. You've looked after his son and your son, so he's the one who should go. And then you can sell the house and divide. That's how it's done. But this man will definitely kick you out at some point. He doesn't want you anymore. He will kick you out at some point. So be smart. Be smart. Start planning. Even if it takes you 2 or 3 months, you better start finding out what you have and what you don't have. Because when he kicks you out, you're a Nigerian woman in a foreign country. What are you going to do? Okay. All right, then. I'll talk to you again. Okay? I'm always here. You have my number now. You can call me anytime. I'll be here. All right, darling. Bye-bye.